Bonjour à tous et à toutes et bienvenue chez Papy Maky. Aujourd'hui une émission en anglais car mon invité de ce soir est un Allemand. Il s'agit tout simplement d'un top world player from Germany. Ice, welcome.
Yo, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for your time and thanks for being here.
Yeah, no worries.
So how are you? You got a good day today?
My day was good and bad at the same time. I took it pretty easy today, so I just watched some new Netflix series, and I'm kind of sick right now. It's nothing serious. It's just a mild cold, so I'm drinking a lot of tea.
I think tea is very good for healthy.
Yeah,
I
I agree.
hope. Yeah, I hope you will be good. You will be good. I hope.
Thank you.
So, Ice, you are here because people and I want to hear your story. You know, I know you since very long time. I mean, I know you play very since long time, but I never knew how do you start Smash. How was your first tournaments, etc., etc. Can you tell us your story, please?
Yeah, for sure. So, where do I start?
So
I
how
yeah.
do you hear about Smash? Like Smash 64, Smash Melee.
Yeah.
When was the first time you hear about Smash?
So Smash was not always Smash, right? So there was a time where I played Smash as a casual, like most of us, I think, where I basically just finished the story mode and I had a great time playing with my friends, finding out who was the best in the neighborhood. At one point, I was like pretty good, or at least I considered myself as pretty good. So I was curious if there are other people who like to compete in the game and want to find out who's the best. So I got the opportunity to use the internet for that,
Mhm.
and I was just typing into Google, I think it was Smash Brothers Germany or something like that. And I found out there was like a German Smash forum, and people were making meetups happen there. And also, I saw that the former best German Smash player, Luma, was also from my city. And I was like, wow, there seem to be German top level players in my city. Like, I am super lucky, I think. So,
Luma, the chic player, right?
yeah, Luma, the Chic
Yeah,
player.
yeah.
So I wrote him a message on the Smash forum for Germany, and I asked him if he wants to meet up and play. So he invited me to his place and we started playing, and he was really, really good. He wanted to money match me right away.
Already? Wait. You want to money match you, and he knew you was like a new player?
Yeah.
Oh my
And
God, Luma.
at that time, I didn't thought much about it, but now thinking back on it, it is somewhat of like a tactic to rip someone off for like some quick money. But I don't look at it like that completely. I also see it as like an opportunity to attach more seriousness to why we play. And it's not necessarily for the money, but as you guys know, if you attach money to something, then there's more meaning behind it, right?
Yeah.
Because you can talk so much at the end of the day, like unless you are able to commit with like money or something else that is valuable for you, this could be time as well, right?
Yeah.
Then it's all talk. So yeah, I pretty much got my ass beaten.
But do,
And
do, do you remember the year of it's happened? Like
I think it was 2008.
2008? So,
Yeah.
okay. So your first contact with the melee community was 2008.
Yeah, the German melee community, I would say.
Oh,
Like not the Berlin melee community, pretty much.
okay, Baron.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and do you remember which character you played?
Yeah, I played Falco back then.
Okay, Falco. Okay.
Yes, I played Falco, and my inspiration back then was PC Chris.
So before you contact Luma and etc., you saw some tournaments or some American match.
Yes, I saw a lot of YouTube videos back in the day. The MLG tournaments were like the hot stuff back then. So I watched most of the MLG stuff on YouTube. And like I said, my favorite player back then was PC Chris, who also played Falco. And I was like, okay, I got to play the character from the best person back then, right? Like he
Yeah.
was having tight battles with Ken, of course, but back then I was like, oh shit, Falco. I never knew you could be that fast with Falco. So I looked up the techniques and stuff like that. I found the advanced how to play video from back in the day, and I started training the techniques at home by myself pretty much as soon as I saw the techniques. And later on, Luma also told me that he was also surprised already from my already existing tech skill back then,
Yeah.
because I made sure that I can move pretty much. But yeah, like I said, I got my ass kicked, and I saw that as a big motivation to get better. So I tried to learn as much as possible from like every encounter.
Okay, interesting. But I have a question. Like you say, so you meet Luma, so it was the first player of the melee community.
Yeah.
But before that, what was your relation with Nintendo game? Do you enjoy Nintendo game? Like, do you play with Super Nintendo or Nintendo or other console like that?
Yeah, I was a huge, I mean, not a super huge, but I would consider myself a much bigger casual gamer than nowadays back in the day.
Yeah.
So I played a lot of the console games back in the day. I had a PS1, I had an N64, I had the older Nintendo systems, the Super Nintendo Evolution system, and the other one. And I played a lot of games on them.
Uh,
Like, I pretty much got them for my sister, who got the consoles first, so I was lucky.
Okay, yeah, very lucky. Yeah, that's nice. If I ask you, like, you one of your favorite games in Nintendo console, like the first Nintendo, can you tell us?
The Zelda series back
Uh,
in the day was always my favorite. So
oh,
Majora's Mask is my favorite Nintendo game.
so Nintendo Zelda was your favorite game. Super Nintendo Link to the Past, I guessed.
I played that one, but that one was too hard for me. I had to look up tips how to beat that game, and I never finished it actually. Yeah.
And Nintendo 64, I guessed Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask.
Yeah, like the N64 was when I really spent a lot of time in front of a screen because the games were so good back in the day.
Because in general, when you are fan of a series of game like Zelda, when you start to play Smash, the first character of you play is Link, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, so you never think about, oh, I want to play Link because I'm fan of Zelda or something like that.
So actually, the reason why I was so hyped when I heard about Melee coming out from Nintendo GameCube was because I already loved the game before that, Super Smash Bros. For the N64. I never owned it myself until pretty late in the game. I only played it at a friend's place. For example, I still remember the day where we had like free for all battles. And when it comes to that game, I immediately picked Link because, yeah, like you said, I was already always a fan of the Zelda series, and I picked Link. And to be fair, as soon as I started playing Melee casual, I already knew that Sheik is gonna be my main because she's also from the Zelda series. And even though I never played Ocarina of Time as much as I played Majora's Mask, I still had to like stay true to like Sheik, you know?
Oh, okay, all right. Nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
So you meet Luma. I think he destroy you. I guess.
Yeah. It wasn't destruction, but he beat me pretty
He-
convincingly, yeah.
so in his home, right?
Yes, at his place.
And then after, what was you feeling like in this moment?
So for the people that are familiar with like Attack on Titan, the anime, I don't know. I think you can compare it to that, the rage that Eren felt when he realized that he wants to do horrible things back to the Titans.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. I was like, I gonna destroy him one day. Just give me time. Like
Okay,
I was
okay.
extremely motivated.
That's nice. That's nice because some players start the game and got beat, got destroyed, or another things, and they give up. They think melee is too hard. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't play. But that moment make a big motivation for you, right?
Yes, for sure. I was like, I can do it. Like the kind of motivation I had was like, whatever I put my mind to, I can achieve. It doesn't matter what it is. And I was like, Millie it is, I guess.
Okay, nice. And then after that, you decide to subscribe of your first tournament, right?
Yeah, like I meet up more with Luma, and also Luma introduced me to like other Berlin Smashers who also like to play Smash competitively. So we had like Smash Fests and such, where I had people that were closer to my level because Luma was like by far the best out of all of us. So I got to meet the other people, and I wanted to play them as much as possible. But even then, I was like different in terms of my motivation. I feel like I always wanted to play. I always wanted to meet up people. I always tried to play as much as possible. But people didn't have that same kind of drive, and I am not sure why. But I think grinding back then wasn't something seen as normal, right?
Hmm.
Like if you were super motivated and wanted to grind for hours, unless you play like a big esport game or something that is already super established, it would have been, or it looked strange for most people, I assume.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And do you remember your first tournament name?
My first tournament was Never Gonna Smash You Up, I think. It was a tournament organized by Luma and Mr. Love, whose name back in the day was Milkman.
Yeah.
And it was my first tournament where I also got to meet other Smashers from Germany, but also there were players from the international scene, like the Dutchies, who were the best back in the day.
So you meet the Dutch community like AMSA, Fab, etc.
Not Amsa. The end boss stayed at his castle, I guess.
Okay.
I met Fab, Zighetto, Choco, who
Uh-huh.
is not here anymore. Rest in
Yeah,
peace.
yeah, rest in
But
peace. Choco.
I met him, and I met Adam.
Adam. Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, and in this moment, so you meet these strong players because in this moment, Adam, Fab, Choco was, I think, more better than Luma.
By far.
Yeah,
Like
by far.
they were so good. It was like, I don't know, it was like being in the presence of something else. I don't know, like you could feel that the atmosphere was different when it comes to like thinking about how good they are, you know? And it was crazy to see my personal end boss at that time, who was Luma, to be humbled by them, you know?
Yeah.
Speaking of skill, because they were so much better than everyone else. And yeah, it was I was really lucky to have such good players at my first tournament.
Yeah, and these players was very like you can talk with them, you can ask tips with them. You know, they're very open to help new players. So yeah, it was very good for you, I think. So you played these tournaments. You remember you rank?
I think I got 13th or 17th, something like that.
Okay. How unsure? How many players you got in the tournaments?
I think maybe 80 to 100, something like that.
Okay,
It
yeah,
was
okay. Wow.
it was decent, I think.
It's a big tournament.
Yeah, it
So,
was a great tournament.
but wait, Ice. So you tell us your first tournament, you got a pretty good rank for your first tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like insane, you know? Like in general, when
I don't know.
yeah,
There were only 5 or 6 good people though.
yeah, but yeah, you know, five of I remember my first tournament. It was very bad for me, but yeah, this is other story. So you you play these tournaments, all right? And in this moment, you still to play Falco, right?
I still played Falco, yeah.
And when you change, when you switch with Chick, in when?
Um, so I went to my second tournament, which was on the other side of Germany.
Yeah.
I traveled together with Luma, and I don't know if there were other people, I don't remember, but I traveled with him to the western part of Germany, and I played Falco there again. But then I played against people who started gimping me, and I was like, this is unfair. Like, why do you die when you have like 20%? This is not fair. I don't like this. I need something that can recover, right? And that's where I was like, fuck, man. I think I want to main Marth and Sheik, because those characters don't seem to suffer from those things as much, like Spaceys back in the day. And I was like, okay, let me switch.
And you switch.
Yeah, I also switched my idol. Like I said before, it was PC Chris, and then it became Mewtwo King.
Yeah, because PC Chris stopped the game in 2008, maybe 2009, yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. So you played a lot in beginning. You play a lot with Luma, right?
Yes.
We can say Luma is kind of was a teacher for you.
Yeah. I mean, for a year or 1.5 years, like he definitely expanded my horizon on the game, like by asking me questions that would make me think more about the game. But the way it works, like at one point, if you want to beat your teacher, you have to look for different teachers, I would say, or you know the saying, right? The student becomes the teacher, because there's only so much you can learn from someone. Like if you want to surpass them, you have to find different ways to surpass them, right? Than just listening to what they say, pretty much.
Yeah, clearly.
Like so, yeah. After I played my second tournament, I was still living in Berlin, but then at one point I decided to move to the western part of Germany because I finished school. So after my 10th class, or what is it called, 10th year in school, I had to make a decision if I want to like stay and get a better degree, or if I want to accept the offer from my father back in the day, who offered me to go for a 3-year apprenticeship or something like that at his company,
Yeah.
which was also in the western part of Germany. And I was like, yeah, why not? I mean, I could play with people there, and also it's better than doing nothing here in Berlin. So I was like, yeah, let me go there. And also, it was nice to have like Netherlands closer, you know?
Oh yeah, so that's why one day I remember I went in a Fab Smash Fest and you was
Yeah.
here.
Oh shit, yeah,
Yeah,
you were there. I
yeah,
remember.
yeah. You was you was here. You was there too. You was there. Yeah. I remember
Yeah.
that too. So after moving, you make a better relation with the Dutch community.
Yeah, I think it was almost more than a relationship, like for me at least. I never felt like I never felt connected to the German community as much as I felt a connection to the Dutch scene or the international scene in general, I would say, because my focus was pretty much getting as good as possible, right? And the best way to do that is to hang out with the people who are the best. And I think it was just natural for me to also develop better relationships with these people. And yeah, at one point I remember, I think it's Zighetto it was, he said, "You are not German," because I pretty much went to all their tournaments whenever I had the chance to. So yeah, like I hanged out a lot with those people, and I'm really, really grateful to this day that they helped me. Even though, yeah, I can also see myself being not annoying, but maybe like I was so hungry for improvement. Maybe I asked too much questions at one point, but it worked out. So I think everyone is happy.
Yeah, I think it's important, you know, like when you are a new player, you have to be curious. You have to talk with players. You have to, you know, I remember in 2005 or 2006, something like that, AMSA just asked at every top players in the venue, hey, do you want to play free play? Do you want to play free play? Do you want to play free play? And you know, AMSA was not AMSA. You know, he was good, but not the top European players. And I just remember he talked and he asked at every top players in the venue, do you want to play? Do you want to play? Do you want to play? So yeah, be curious is very good for be a top player. Yeah, I'm agree.
You need the drive also, right? And I think back in the day it was much easier, not in terms of like practice opportunities, because nowadays we have like a million ways to get better, right? YouTube videos, Uncle Punch, coaches, all those things were not even thought of, you know, back in the day.
Yeah.
But there was a different kind of drive, I would say, because at least back in the day, you couldn't even make as much money as nowadays from like either streaming or attending tournaments. So really, it was about nothing else than just the sake of the game, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Because things like sponsorship opportunities, stuff like that, those things were so foreign for us, and nobody thought about that, you know? So people just played for the sake of the game, and it was about who wants to be the best, and the appreciation of skill was so much more genuine. And yeah, I think it was easier for someone like me to have the drive to ask as many questions as possible and stay curious about the game and be motivated.
Do you understand players who say like I'm shy to send a message for us to play, I'm shy to ask tips or etc etc, you know? Do you understand that mentality?
Yes, I understand it because I meet a lot of people throughout the years, either by traveling or being in conversations with people, and a lot of people, they are in a constant comparison, right, with the people around them. So they judge people by competence, which is neither good or bad, but sometimes it can hurt you, especially if you shy away from asking those people questions, right?
Yeah.
Because the reality is that most people that are somewhat accomplished in a field, they really like to help people, right? Because there is this really deep understanding that we all were beginners too at one point, and we also had to ask questions, and without like several people helping us on our way up, we would have not made it back, no, not made it up either, right?
Yeah.
So it's like paying back in a sense. And if people shy away from asking questions, then they don't even give those people the chance to help and pay back, and continue what they got taught in a sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I'm agree. Yeah, right. So back to you, young eyes. So you move, you make a better relation with the Dutch community, and then do you remember your first European tournament?
Yes, I think it was ESA free.
ESA free. All right, ESA.
Yeah.
Okay. ESA free. It was when 2009, I think.
Or 10, I think. I don't know.
I think it was. I think it was 10. Yeah, 10. Yeah, you. I think you're right. Because we got three big tournaments. We got ESA free. We got SNI in UK, and we got another tournaments. Yeah. So you're right. So you arrive in Paris, ESA free. It was your first time in French.
It was my first time in France, and I was lucky. My father drove me
Okay.
to Paris because he had a business meeting somewhere close, somewhere in France. I don't know where, but I was lucky, so he just took me with him.
So the timing was perfect.
It was perfect. Couldn't have been better. It was destiny.
So all right. So that was your first European tournament. So a lot of good players. How the young ice was in this moment?
I was like a super hungry child who was in Disneyland and everything was free. I was not the only one there, but everything was immediately available. I could eat as much and have as much fun as possible because there were so many good people, and it felt like I was a little bit not afraid, but I had a lot of respect for there being so many people that are better than me and can destroy me. But I saw it as like a playground because I knew one day I will keep competing with them. So I just sat down, tried to play as much as possible. Some days there are people that come to me, like what was his name? Like Charlotte, for example.
Yeah.
And he told me we played 12 hours without standing up from a setup. And I believe him. I was this kind of person back in the day.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, like thinking about that. But this was the kind of motivation I had because I was like, there's no time to spare, I gotta push.
Yeah.
So it was crazy.
Clearly. Do you remember you weigh in ASI 3? Do you remember? Like you bracket?
No, but I only remember one thing. I lost to you.
Yeah. But
I lost to you.
Do you remember you lost against who again in winner or not?
I don't remember. I think I lost to you in losers,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure. You played the Red Marv. I played Cheek.
Yeah.
And your spacing was too good for me. I couldn't beat you on FD.
It was in loser round 6, but you meet top players in winner, and you can't remember who?
Mm-mm.
It was Armada.
Oh, damn.
Yes.
It's crazy.
So you lost against Armada in winner, and you lost against me in loser round 6. So yeah, it was like pretty good for a new challenger with first European tournament, you know.
Yeah.
So how do you felt after this tournament?
It's been a long time, but I assume I felt motivated, but also salty, of course, right?
Yeah.
And this kind of cocktail is a good recipe for improvement, I think.
Yeah.
So pretty much as soon as I was out of the tournament, I just sat down and tried to play more. After I had some food, I think it was a pizza. So yeah.
It was in 2009. ESA 3, it was in 2009.
Damn.
Yeah. So yeah, in 2009. So you back in your country with a big motivation, I guess.
Yeah, always.
In this moment, how do you see the American community? Did you think what the American community was more better, or did you feel like I can beat them? How was you feeling in this moment?
So I was thinking about people who traveled to America, which didn't happen much back then. I think Genesis 1 was like the first real encounter of like Armada and some players against America. And I didn't have a real clue about how much better America is, right? But at the same time, I was like, I should not even worry about them because I'm still shit. So I know what I have to work on, and until I fix those things, why should I worry, you know, about any names of people that I never met before?
Clearly.
Yeah.
So I have some notes in front of me. So you make the ESA 3, then the same years, I don't know if you remember, you make Smash Attack and TSL 4.
Yeah, Smash Attack in Germany and TSL, the Super Lion tournament, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So after that, you start to make a better result, because in Smash Attack you finish 17-24, and in TSL 4, a very beautiful tournament, you finish 7-8, top 8. All right. But in 2010 you start to make some top 5. Do you remember the tournaments?
Was it some Dutch tournaments maybe?
Yeah, Berlin Calling.
Berlin Calling. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was it was in the same venue as my first tournament. Yeah.
So in this tournament, do you remember your way?
I don't remember.
You don't remember, right? It's okay. So first round, you play against Avenger Angel. I don't know if you remember him. Falco.
Yeah, he's an Italian.
Yeah, Italian Falco. Then you play against C, a Swedish player, and then you play against Baxon and you beat Baxon. You beat Baxon 2-1. You remember this set or not?
Was it in France?
No, it was in Berlin Calling, so in Berlin.
Okay. I only remember I did an insane Falco combo once against Baxon on FD.
Yeah.
That's what I remember, but I don't remember the Berlin set.
And so you beat Baxon and finish against in winner round 4 against AMSA, and you lost against AMSA, but you win against Alduin, the Falco player. So Alduin, Baxon, they was a top European player, and when you beat them, you show at everybody, hey, look at me, I'm ice and I'm a top player too, you know. So I think it was very good for your career, for your image.
Yes. Yeah. I think I was not super happy when I beat them. I'm not sure, but I think I already had my focus on like other people. But I remember now, like it definitely felt like stepping stones. I was like, okay, this is getting somewhere. Let me continue.
Top 4 with Berlin Calling, and the players front of you was Armada, AMSA, and Remen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so very strong player too, you know. So after that, I have a question. So you play Beast 2. Do you remember this tournament?
Beast 2?
Yes, Beast and Beast 2.
Yeah, I think I almost lost to a Kirby at one of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you lost. You lost. Do you remember you lost against who in Beast 2?
I think I lost to Amsa and mm, Amada.
Yeah,
Yeah,
perfect. Very
yeah.
good. Very good. Yeah. So in winner you lost against Armada, and in loser you lost against AMSA. So clearly we have in this moment a strong eyes, right? A very strong eyes who lost against only against top player.
Mhm.
How do you feel in this moment?
Um, it's hard to overcome. I felt like it was really hard to overcome them. I couldn't really understand what it was that I lacked. So I pretty much just went back to grind because back in the day, it was harder to have a clear reason why you lost. So people gave themselves or other people more reasons that were more subjective and more defined, like with mindset, like, oh, I was not patient enough or I was nervous, stuff like that. Like, it was different. Like, nowadays, people are like, oh, I didn't convert the wave shine up smash into this and this, like, people are way more specific. But back in the day, it was more like, oh, how do I fix my mindset problem when it comes to this and this?
Yeah. So you try to find always try to fix something in your mentality, in your game, in your etc
Yeah.
etc. Right. All right. So after this tournament, you went in USA for you remember?
Is it A3? No,
Repeat
4.
the first tournament in America of you of
Apex. Apex.
Apex. Yes. So it was your first time in America and for Melee, right?
Yes.
How was Ice in this moment? Afraid, impressions? How?
I felt again like at my first tournament. So the atmosphere was like, okay, instead of like having, I don't know, 10 or 5 people who beat me over and over again,
Yeah.
there were 100, and or more. So I felt like a little shit. Like, I didn't know if I have any chance to win it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to get as much as possible out of this experience. I was super motivated, but I didn't even make it out of pools. But by a chance of luck, I still made it out of pools because there was a three-way tie that wasn't my favor. So I made it out of pools, but only because of luck, pretty much, right?
Yeah. Uh,
And once I made it out of pools, I didn't make it far in bracket. I lost to a good Marth player from the region. Heartbreak Kid, I think was his name.
okay.
Yeah, and it was a fun trip. I really enjoyed my stay, and I got to meet the international scene, and I made good friends in America.
Do you remember you lost against who in brackets?
I only remember Heartbreak Kid, but
Okay.
I don't. Mango, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. You lost against
Yeah.
Mango. Wrong two. Yeah.
Mm.
And in this tournament, you went with some European players like Armada, etc., etc., and you went with a young Leffen too. So I know
Yeah.
that Leffen and you was for few years a big rivals, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you saw that in this moment? Like you was a very good player in this moment, and a lot of players went in America and one be like you. I mean, not be like you, but one be top player with the same motivation of you. How do you feel like it's make you more motivated, or how was you feeling about that?
I've just thought that I have to make the best out of the opportunity, and that all the time that I spent like practicing and stuff like that, traveling through Europe, like brought me to that point, and that I'm lucky to travel with other people in Europe who are having the same kind of motivation. So I was like pretty happy that I didn't had to like travel by myself and had people that I was somewhat familiar with because I saw them at other tournaments that were more close to my hometown. And Yeah, I was always like really appreciative of it. And like I said, getting in touch with the international community, it changed my motivation to get even better because it was a humbling experience, but at the same time, it put also things into a better perspective for myself because I knew that it is actually way harder than I assumed it is.
Mm.
Yeah.
I see. So yeah, so we advance in the time. You back in Europe, you make Epitas Smash Arena 5 and you finish second. You make House Coward 6. I don't know if you remember these tournaments. My pronunciation is maybe bad. In Netherlands, you finish second, lost against Armada 2. So okay. So you lost against Armada two tournaments, like Epitas Smash Arena 5, you finished second, lost against Armada. House Kawachi 6, you finished second, lost against Armada. In this moment, we can say you were top 5 Europe, right?
Yeah, pretty sure.
And do you did you was focus about European community, or you was more focused about American community in this moment, like?
When I was top 3 in Europe, I focused more on America for sure because most people already showed signs of being not as committed and interested in the game anymore. So even though we had a lot of people in the top 10 or top 15 back then who were still got gatekeepers and amazing at the game, they were slowly shifting away from the game because they either had different interests or they didn't feel like trying their best to get to the level to like win at American tournaments, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So my focus was always on the people that are in America because that's where the best people were.
Do you remember your first major European tournaments of your win, of your finish first?
No.
It was HFLAN 5.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you finished first. Second was over Triforce.
Damn.
So yeah, so it was the first European tournament of your finish first, and then just after that, just after winning the HFN 5, you went in America. You remember?
Damn. No, I don't. But
Oh.
it must have been Apex.
No.
The second Apex. Right?
Yeah, second Apex was before the HFLAN. It was for Evo 2013.
Oh, I had the momentum. Okay, yeah.
Evo 2014, I will be honest with you, I saw that in Twitch. So I want to know. So you went two times in America for the Apex 2010, 11, 12 and the Apex 2013. Okay? How was you feeling when you came to the big fighting tournaments of the world? Like, how did you feel? How did you feel? How did you felt?
I was like, oh damn, there are other insane people, but it was only for another game. I was like, okay, there are more of us. Even though they not play the same game as we do, they still have the same kind of love. They share the same kind of love for fighting games, you know?
Yeah.
That's how I was looking at it. I was like, okay, this is nice. We might play different games, but everyone here is a fucking crazy guy who likes fighting games. I like that. It was an amazing atmosphere. It was like a multiplayer in a sense, right? Because it was so much more than just the Smash community. Suddenly, we were able to play on the big stage.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to know one thing, Ice. After this Evo, did you feel like everything changed for you? Because you was top European players who make top 25, top 30 in American tournaments, and one moment you make top 8 at Evo 2013, a big tournaments, and it was like amazing to make top 8, you know?
Yeah.
So there are some things change, like about your mentality, about around you, about how players watch you, you know?
It was more that I was growing with the game and outside the game, and at one point, like at this pinnacle of my career, let's say, even though I always had the motivation to keep growing, I had other things that I was starting to get interested in, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to like do things outside of Smash. I wanted to experiment with like different things in life. And I put Melee a little bit on the back burner, right? I was like still dedicated and trained on a consistent basis, but I wasn't as obsessed, I would say, as I was before. And I think it was because you become a little bit lazy if you reach a high point, you know, because you feel like, okay, this is amazing, I can slow down now, you know, like, because you assume that as long as you move forward, everything will work out. But I think that's a huge mistake that you can do, right? Because you also have to look at your velocity and, I mean, the way you carry yourself forward, right?
Yeah.
Like, just moving forward is not the most important thing. You got to keep care of the actual thing that is moving forward, right? Because at one point it might become harder to move forward, right? If you don't take care of certain things. And I think that was like a huge lesson for me in life, and I had a great time after Evo. But then there were a lot of things, like personal stuff, like that definitely had a huge toll on me, and it was hard to balance that with my always ongoing love for Smash, because Smash is like, or was for me at least, always something that was always in a direct relationship with how I felt about myself and everything that was going on in my life. So whenever something happened that had like a negative impact on me, it also somewhat attacked my motivational love for Smash, right? So I had to make sure to take care of myself in order to also not let my motivation go down the toilet.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of players become sick because Smash, you know. Yes, they lost control. They lost control, and yeah. So I'm totally agree with what of you say. So you back in Evo, Republic of Fighter, you finish first, Avalon first, Avalon 2 first, HFN 6 first, beating Remain, AMSA, over Triforce, Leffen. In this period, we can just say there are only Armada who can beat you, no?
Yeah.
Because, like, you beat every top players except Armada, I think. It's true, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so Armada was really the in this moment, okay, I want to know, in this moment, who was you objective about players, you know? I don't know if you understand what I mean. Like, you beat AMSA, you beat Remen, you beat Over Triforce, you beat Leffen, you know?
Yeah.
Who was the next for you?
I think I didn't have a next.
Yeah?
No, I didn't, because I think, like I mentioned earlier, I was occupied with like other stuff. I had a relationship, first girlfriend, then second girlfriend, things that, you know, gave me like other, I want to say problems, but it's more like it's the new environment. It gave me new things to think about, right?
Yeah.
And everything comes with good and bad things. Everybody knows that. But I was kind of complacent and happy where I was, right?
Yeah.
Because after seeing Armada play in so many tournaments, he becomes this wall, right? That is like really hard to get over. And a lot of times it's easier to accept the wall as it is, you know, and basically learn to live with the wall instead of like trying to crush it or overcome it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what most people do. And on top of that, I was occupied and focusing on other things, like out of game things, right? Back in the day, because I always like trusted my luck. Maybe I trusted it too much. So I had to take care of like the things that I postponed, right?
So it's like you calm you competitor mind with melee, right?
Yeah, it changed over
Change.
the years.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's normal too, you know, because yeah, like you say, you have other priority, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
Then okay, so do you remember? There are video very popular, very popular. Um, it's when you play in final against Leffen, and when he broke his controller in front of you. You remember that?
Oh yeah, it was in Spain. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Spain. So first things I want to know in why you switch Chic Mars to 100% Fox. Why?
It was because when I went to America to play with my Sheik and Marv, after one Evo, I decided that it was stupid for me to play Sheik because I didn't have any NTSC practice in Europe.
Yeah.
This was before Europe switched to NTSC. And I was like, how am I supposed to learn all the downthrow follow-ups against all the different characters if I can't even train the character properly in Europe? And I also have to learn PAL stuff at the same time. So I was like, fuck this. I want to play Fox because Fox is much better in NTSC and also he gets a buff somewhat, right?
Yeah.
So that was like my mindset.
Okay. So because America.
Yeah, it was because of NTSC versus PAL.
Yeah, NTSC, yeah. And so you switch with Fox. You practice a lot with Fox.
Yeah, it was fun to practice a new character, you know.
Yeah. Like a new vision of melee.
Exactly. Yeah.
And your first big tournament of you win with your Fox was in Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah. You remember the name of the tournament?
No.
Yeah. Do you remember you play against who in final?
Triff?
No, you play against Leffen.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, you play against Leffen in final. So how do you feel like when you play with your new character in final against Leffen?
I lost, I think, in winners, and I had my friends there, and I was like, what? Like I felt kind of tired, so I just laid down on the ground, and I was like, fuck this. I don't want to stress myself out sitting down on the warm-up setup and play. I just gonna sleep. So I just lay down on the ground and I slept. And then when it was time for me to play, I woke up and I had like 5 or 10 minutes to warm up. And that's where I got into the mood and I put myself into like almost like something like a trance, you know, because I wanted to only focus on what was in front of me, right?
Yeah.
Like anything else didn't matter. Like whatever was outside the game, the person that sat next to me, nothing, right? I just put myself into this kind of mindset, and it was successful. And yeah, it was crazy seeing the aftermath.
Did you got afraid when he launched the controller? Did you feel?
It was funny for me.
Yeah. Did you feel like he didn't respect you in this moment? Like...
No. I think it's all. I think that this is Leffen's. It's Leffen's power, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So
he has to pay a price for that sometimes, you know.
yeah, exactly. So we advance into time. Do you remember the big house 6 ice?
Yeah, I do.
You make a very beautiful tournament in the big house 6, right?
Yeah.
Like, how was you feeling? Like when you are in American with a lot of experience of American players, you improve a lot. You win a lot in trust in your game. Did you feel like one day you come to America and say, okay, I'm come to win?
Actually, I felt really bad around that time.
Okay, why?
Because not much before that tournament, I injured myself, to the point where I couldn't work out anymore, and also playing Smash and holding a controller for a long period of time became painful.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like a smart person, a good person, and would have be like, okay, I'm not gonna play this game. I will just focus on recovering and not doing anything, right? But I was like so motivated to still try my best in the game, even though I should have like not played. That I really wanted to play as good as possible. And when I played the tournament, I tried everything to make sure that the pain that I have doesn't influence me as bad. So I made sure to sleep well. I did like exercises for my muscles, stuff like that, to don't have any pain when I was playing. But it was still there, obviously. But I had a really good run at that tournament, and I don't know why it was. All I remember is that I had a green tea before the tournament bracket, the series part start, and maybe the green tea gave me like the perfect level of being calm and collected.
For me, you make a crazy tournament. You beat Rudolph, a Japanese player, a master Japanese player. I play him when I was in Japan. It's very funny. You beat Gatsu, a Falcon player. You beat Silent Wolf. You beat S-Fat. It was like a crazy run.
Yeah.
You go to top 8 and lost against Mango.
And Armada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, clearly it was so crazy. Like, in this moment, I felt like Ice is probably one of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you imagine, I mean, I don't know if you imagine how many players want to be like you know? Like, start the game in 2008, 2009, and step by step beat top players, beat very top players, and finish with top 8 in America. You know, it's crazy things. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, there's always things that people don't know. Like I don't know things, but then also people don't know what it takes, right? And this is the thing. I think once people understand or research what it takes to do something, then most of the time they will maybe get more respect, but also this kind of respect that they will get will also make it harder for them to go and achieve their dreams, right?
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people nowadays, they adopt dreams that have like an airbag built into it. So, for example, I could say something nowadays that would be like so normal for people to say, like, oh, I just want to play this game for fun. And of course, I like the feeling of improving. So I just play and try to get as good as possible, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, it is a really healthy mindset to have. And I think it makes sense that most people have it. But with this kind of mindset, you will never, in my opinion at least, you will never make it to the top, right? Because in order to get to the top, you have to do the things that you don't like, right? And if you do things that you don't like, you already go against what most people say, which is, I want to have fun, right? Because you can't put fun and doing things that you don't like into the same pot. It doesn't work. It just makes the food shit, you know?
Yeah.
And I think this is the difference, you know? And ultimately, one of the reasons, I mean, except for the people that already quit, like all the old legends from back in the day, that you still see so many old school smashers or people that been playing this game for so many years still on the top, right? Even though nowadays you have a lot of like newcomers and people like that, but no disrespect to anyone, but they also get overblown and overhyped, which is healthy for the scene, right? But at the end of the day, skill is different, right, than getting publicity and stuff like that, because those things have a bigger impact on general opinions of the public or the community, let's say, than skill, because you can feel and see the one thing more over the other, right? Not many people have a understanding of skill and what it takes to gain that skill, you know, all the time, all the years you have to put into the game. And it's way easier to follow the noise, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I explain the changes. But yeah, the point that I'm trying to make is that if people would know what it takes, then they would already put more limits on themselves, right? So sometimes it's better to have a certain kind of like ignorance towards the requirements, because as soon as you learn all of the requirements at once, it is really hard to like still keep pushing forward.
Yeah, I'm agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So I was really stupid and young, and it helped me, you know, because I didn't thought about all the requirements and what an emotional effect it can have on me, right? All that mattered for me was to push forward, you know, to keep fighting.
I think Melee help to grow. Melee help to improve, you know? Not about game, but about life. We we learn a lot of things with Melee. We learn a lot of things about mentality, about life, etc., etc. So yeah, I'm agree. I'm agree. So yeah, so Ice, today we for me you're still top European players. You prove with the online era you finish like 3 in Felix Blue Online, you finish 2 in Levo, you finish 2 in Smash Sona Online, 2 in Get On My Line 2021 Online, 2 in Fate Online, you know? You always make a very good rank.
Yeah.
What is your objective today? What is your goal? Do you want to play Melee like and stay like that, or do you want to found more better and try to beat American top players?
I want to. So, before COVID, I was like really committed in my head. I already made up the plan of traveling to America a lot because I knew it was possible with my great sponsors and supporters, like Red Bull, for example. So I wanted to travel a lot and make the best out of it, and then pretty much try as hard as I can, like pretty much what I used to do when I was much younger, right? But then COVID came and it changed a lot of things for me, right?
Yeah.
And I went back into a relationship because I felt I had to do it in a sense. Like I had to also try to balance that again with like all the stress that comes from like getting better and playing. I saw it like as a good thing in a sense, but in the end, I never got the same love for like the online era, you know.
Yeah.
And not just the fact of, you know, like playing tournaments online, like the landscape 100% changed, you know, and things got more and more away from like alternative sites. Like, as you know, we started on forums, then we moved to Facebook, then it was like separate. You had like different groups of people, you have a lot of ways to communicating with each other. Nowadays it's only WhatsApp pretty much, or Discord. And I don't know, I had to force myself, you know, to play and maintain my skill while I still had to battle certain like health difficulties, right? Like muscle problems and stuff like that, like pain in my upper shoulder or neck, for instance, which if people pay attention to some of the YouTube videos, I'm sure they can see me doing weird movements with like my neck, or touching the back of my shoulder or my neck, because that was the kind of pain I felt in those moments. But yeah, what I want to say is that it was really hard to survive or to keep this flame of my motivation alive throughout all those changes that happened to the Melee community over the past years. And I still made it pretty much onto the other side, but for now, it's really hard to also just go back to the normal stuff, right? Like offline tournaments, for example.
Yeah.
It still feels so. It feels so unrealistic, so unreal, right? Because 2 years is a long time.
Yeah.
And even before that, I didn't travel to America for a long time. My last tournament in North America was a Canadian one, right? And yeah,
For me, it was saving Mr. Lombardi 2.
yeah.
In two...
So for
Yeah, go ahead,
yeah.
sorry.
So for now, I just want to go and try hard for 1 or 2 more years. Do my best that I can, and then I want to like stop playing competitively. I want to play the game. I want to keep playing the game for fun, and I would of course also try to improve at it, but not with the same objective in mind of like being as good as I can be, or maybe even be the best in the world, because I have to be realistic, and also I have to think about my future. So I would love to be something like a role model for people and help people to overcome certain problems that I had to deal with, so people have an easier time overcoming those things, and it also saves them time and nerves. That's what I would like to do, and I think a lot of people can benefit from the experience I made over the years. So yeah, this is pretty much what I want to do for the next year and the year after maybe, and then I think it's time to count my losses and my wins.
Yeah. All right. It's time to answer if there are questions. So you can ask the question. Les gens, vous pouvez poser des questions à Ice directement sur le chat. Il va répondre. Il va avoir la gentillesse de répondre. Ice, me, I have a question for you. Even if I ask a question since the beginning, I have a question. You talk about Red Bulls. How did you found Red Bull? Like Red Bull found you, or you found Red Bull?
I found Red Bull in the fridge. No, they found me. They found me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they came and approached me, and I was pretty lucky because I got recommended by a person from Germany who was also a Red Bull athlete. I found out about that much later. I was only under the impression that I got introduced to Red Bull by people like Leffen, who was a Red Bull athlete back in the day, for example, or other people who heard about me. But I was really lucky because the first time I heard about this whole concept of, oh, you can be a Red Bull athlete? What the fuck? And I always was a fan of like doing sports and stuff. I was like, wow, I can be a gaming athlete. This is a dream come true, right? And I also saw all the like perks indirectly that Leffen had from being a Red Bull athlete. I was like, damn, he's living the dream. Maybe one day I can be a Red Bull athlete as well. And I was so happy when they approached me and they asked me if I was interested. It was amazing. Yeah. So yeah, that's how it happened.
I can imagine. Zorg asked, is there a video from the MLG era, a set, a combo video, a tutorial, that stand out for you?
It is PC Chris versus Ken. I think MLG New York.
MLG New York. PC Chris win.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he win. And yeah, it was crazy set, I remember. Very, very long time.
Yeah.
Zephyr say, so thanks for the talk, Ice. There are two things I would like to hear you talk about more. I'm a big fan of doubles, and there was a point in time when you and Leffen were really good, one of the very best team in the world. Can you tell us a little about it? It's true we didn't talk about team, and I think we have to got 4 or 5 hours for talk about all of the Ice career, but it can be fun, if it can be nice if you can talk about like team with us. Like, did you practice a lot with Leffen when you dominate team like that? Did you practice?
We never practice.
Yeah, really.
Like really, like the times we practice, I can count on 2 hands. And I think that was the magic of it, because it took a little bit of like pressure away from us in a sense, right? Because we were like, oh my god, we are born for this shit, Like we just click, because I really understood Leffen's playstyle really well, and I think he had a really good understanding of my playstyle. so we had a good time to not get into each other's way. Even though a lot of times what happened was that we got in each other's way, and that pretty much costed us a tournament. But this is besides the point. I mean, it was always fun to like team to until a certain point where it became way too toxic for my taste, and I didn't really like that, right? Because, like I said, my background, I started playing earlier than Leffen, right?
Yeah.
So my background was more rooted, or my appreciation for the game was always more rooted in like a genuine love for the game itself, and not like feeling pressure to accomplish certain goals you have, and also making sure that other people like sponsors or people like that are happy with your play, you know. So it was a different kind, you know, of angle from which I approached like succeeding in melee or in teams, for instance. And at one point, I think like it was better to like break up, you know.
Yeah.
It because the difference of those kind of mentalities I just described, they didn't work ultimately, and I was not willing to get disrespected. Long story short, so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, did you saw the doubles like a singles, or like you was more focused about singles and teams was like a second main stream or events?
It changed. It changed. There was definitely singles first, right?
Yeah.
But then at one point, after I saw us having this huge potential in doubles, and like we could potentially be the best in the world, and I think for a short period of like 2 weeks, we were the best in the world. We had like a good run against all the other good teams back in the day.
Yeah.
So I think for 2 weeks, we were like the best team in the world. But
Have
yeah,
you
it changed.
yeah, it changed. Have you one anecdote in team of you can share with us? One funny, or I don't know, like one anecdote.
Um, yeah, there's one thing. So, Leffen, in a lot of our sets, he gave me the last advice, or he gave the last feedback on what we should focus on. He always told me, go for a lot of back airs and up tilt. And the funny thing is, I never followed that advice. Never, never. And for some reason, he never talked about that with me.
Yeah.
Because maybe he was just happy with the win, I guess. But that's always something that I'm gonna remember. It's always funny for me.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, because yeah, you are a very great player in team. You win with Fuzziness last time. You always win 6 last time too. You know, you are a very good player in team. You win with Pipsqueak in Super Bowl. You win with in Vienality with Timmy. You win with Kellner. You win with every player. So I think we have to play team next time.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm amazing in teams. I can't pinpoint why. I know the reasons, but it would take too long to explain them and talk about it. But I consider myself one of the best teams players of all time, for sure. Because I proved that I can team with so many different people and we can win tournaments. And not many people can do that. Some people just rely on having a good partner. I can make it work, and I train with horrible people. I train with decent people, with good people, so I kind of know how to adjust at this point.
I have a last question about team. For you, who is the best team in the world of you fights?
I think the best team in the world, it is either PewFat or Armada and Android. Even though I think potentially the Ice Leffen team had the biggest skill. Like we had the biggest potential, but we suffered from communication issues, which is the downfall from like every potential great team. Like you can have star players, you can have amazing individuals. If those people have a dispute over something, then it's never gonna work out because the trust is not there, you know?
Yeah.
And so yeah, my point would be like it's either Android and Armada or PewFat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will take two or three last questions for Ice. So, question from Kefir: did the fact that you play Pal Melee after you and you play style?
Wait, I'm trying to read the question.
Yeah, okay, so it's you can read in Masterclass. Did the fact that you play pad melee after you and you play style?
Yeah, I see it now.
Yeah.
Only initially. Only initially. I think it helped my Sheik playstyle because I couldn't just rely on spamming grab that much. So I was more focused on other tools that were not so grab related. Because nowadays the best risk reward is like making sure that grab is your number one thing you go for, and in case the opponent tries to avoid it, you do the second best thing, right? It was much more clearer. And in PAL, it made more sense to bait a roll and then go for like a juicy tilt or dash attack rather than just get a down throw into nothing, right? So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me finish the second question. Did the switch to NTC in Europe change the way you train play? Not really. I just got a better up B and a better up smash. Yeah.
Yeah. And last question from Zephyr. Can you tell us what the summit companion where you liked your perspective? Okay, there are
I think if you're from Europe and you don't have like huge support either by individuals that have like huge money or people that are already like at the top in terms of like being established and being like star players in the community, it is pretty hard to make it in. So I gotta thank people like Leffen and Armada, and of course all the other supporters I have from Europe and America, namely, that it was enough to like get me to like those summits, you know. So from my perspective, it was always super stressful because I was never sure if I'm gonna make it in or not. I just had the faith in the people that supported me and that it could work out, and I was really happy when I made it. But all the stress, it's not worth it. That's how I really see it. I think it doesn't make up for what you get there. And this might sound like a shot against Summit, and I really don't want people to think that because I think they do an amazing job and I really love the tournaments. But ultimately, all the stress that I at least had to go through, and I imagine a lot of other people felt something similar, is not worth it. That's how I see it. Even though I had an amazing time there, but at the end of the day, like I said, it's always plus and minus, right? Like, what do you end up with? So yeah.
We're missing time, so we will just take a last question for Mehdi. What do you think is the best mentality to have in game to avoid choking and out of game to improve? So I don't know if
I want to take my time with this question because it's a really good question.
You can take time. You are the guest. If you can take 2 hours, we take 2 hours. No problem. If you can take 3 hours, you can take 3 hours too. If you can take 4, go ahead. Sorry.
Be in your body. This is my advice. It sounds weird at first, but what I mean by that is you start choking because you are in your head, right? But you're not in your body. Like if you would actually train your awareness of understanding what choking does to you, right? Because choking is a process, right? It's not like something that happens from 1 second to another. It builds up. First, it starts with breathing for most people. Then it can be tensing of muscles. Then it can be some stomach problems, right? And at one point, your mind is gonna wake up and be like, oh shit, what's happening with my muscles? What's happening with my stomach? What's happening with my muscles? Seems to be a really tense situation. This is how I interpret it. Run, you know? And before all of this happens, you should develop the awareness of your body, right? Like how does your body feel right now? How do you breathe? Do you breathe deep, slow, fast? Like be aware of that. Take notice of how you breathe when you feel your best versus when you feel tense and worse. And then you have a comparison. Pay attention to how your stomach feels. Pay attention to how relaxed your muscles are or not. Those kind of things will help you way more than finding yourself in a really pressure situation, noticing that you choke, because at that point you have to shower. Like it's already super hard, you know, to reverse that. Like, you can do it if you can put yourself into a complete different mindset, but doing that is way harder than paying attention to the things I mentioned in the first place. So this would be my advice.
Very, very, very nice advice, I think. Yeah, yeah. Ice,
Yeah,
like I
there was
say, yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
Well, yeah, no, I let you go ahead.
So, like I say, 1 hour is very short for a resume of your career.
Yeah.
Of course, we didn't talk about we missed a lot of things, but I learned a lot of things about you. I'm very happy because I learned a lot of things about your story, your career, etc., your mentality, etc. And thanks for that. Thanks for being my guest today, and thanks for answer all the questions, and thanks for share your experience of melee with us. Thanks very much.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for having me, and I hope people were able to learn something from it. So yeah, thank you.
For sure, thanks. En tout cas, j'espère que vous avez bien apprécié l'épisode de chez Papy Maky en anglais avec Ice. Ice, have a good night and see ya, and passe une bonne nuit, like we say in French. Bonne nuit, bonne nuit.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.
Au revoir, bye bye.
Bye bye.